Hey guys, this is Julie from Connecting Japan, and today we're going to switch it up a bit and do on anime. And right next to me here is my daughter Colleen, an expert on all things anime and manga. So for people who don't know what anime is, I'm going to get her to explain it for you, and manga and light novels.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anime is basically It's basically just a form of entertainment, like movies or music or whatever, except it's specifically Japanese-made animation. Although it's like animation made in Japan and partially a style of animation, and it can really be anything because there's just any genre you can think of. There's probably an anime for it, but anime also has its own unique genres. For example, there's Maho Shoujo, which is magical girl anime. You know, like Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
There's also age-based genres like shonen, shoujo, josei, and seinen.
Alright, so we're going to go into those now, right?
Yeah.
So shonen generally means for boys.
Young boys.
Yeah, young boys, and includes magic, adventure, and we've put Dragon Ball Z, Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, Bleach. Can you think of any more, Colin?
Well, like you forgot Naruto. They're typically known as the big three because they're like some of the most well-known ones. And then there's more recent ones like Black Clover and Dr. Stone would be considered shonen. Basically, it's for a younger teen audience, and basically anything that would be on in Shonen Jump magazine would be considered, well, obviously shonen. Hilariously enough, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which isn't a shonen, actually was originally serialized in Shonen Jump magazine for a little bit before it switched.
The next one is shoujo, just translates as young girl, and covers a wide range of different animes that appeal to the audience, and they include Sailor Moon, which I grew up with, Fruits Basket, both the previous version and the current versions we've got, and Oran High School.
Yeah.
Any more?
This is manga I liked reading, Fushigi Yugi. That would be considered shoujo. Natsume's I think it's Natsume no Yojincho or Natsume's Book of Friends is technically a shoujo because it doesn't have to just be romance, but typically it's for like a younger teen girl audience. So it doesn't always have a female protagonist either. Okay,
the next one is ecchi, and anime of this kind is referred to by the Japanese as dirty. We'll leave that completely as that is, and highly suggestive in nature and not suitable for young audiences. Many adult swim anime is included in this genre. We'll pretty much leave it at that.
Basically, it's heavily like, you know how anime, some anime has fan service in it. Ecchi turns that up to 11, like High School of the Dead, High School DxD, that sort of anime. It's basically just...
Yeah. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Oh, gosh. God.
Oh, geez.
Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Seinen is the next one. Seinen. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Okay. This type of anime
older teen
is for the older teen, and is often, depending on which country you're in, it could be rated R because of the violence and its graphicness, that's like a word, highly graphic in nature. Akira, which I actually watched, and it was scary enough when I was that age. Ghost in the Shell, One Punch Man, and I would say Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, maybe some of it. Yeah, it's a bit.
I don't know, because like Bleach is also pretty. It can get pretty intense at times, and it's still considered to be a shonen. I'd say more accurately, Tokyo Ghoul is a fairly popular seinen.
Yes.
That's a seinen. That is.
Yeah. Okay.
The actual, hilariously enough, the manga version of Soul Eater is seinen, but the anime was toned down, so it's more of a shoujo. Because like I had a copy of the Soul Eater manga. It was listed like 16 up, and that's typically the age range for seinen. So yeah, it's basically like just a lot more mature, I guess. A lot more graphic than your typical shonen.
Yep. Yep, so for those who don't know, manga's just like the comic book version, more often off the comic book version of the anime. They aren't always loyal to the book. So if you're looking at some of these titles and you're looking at the manga version of them, they're not always available in Australia. So, you know, you take your chances.
Australia's very strict, especially with like video games and stuff like that. I think it's just because we have an outdated rating system.
Yep. Anyway, the next one is harem, and some genres do tend to drift into this category, so it's a little bit complicated to explain, but we'll try and explain it. And it often includes a love interest, female love interest. It hasn't male admirers, or reverse harem where the male character has many females chasing.
Oh, you got it wrong. Reverse harem is when it's a female protagonist with a bunch of male.
See, I knew I'd get it wrong. So I knew I'd get it wrong, but anyhow,
it's fairly simple. It's just one dude with a bunch of potential love interests, and usually because it's basically a power fantasy. It ends super open-ended a lot of the time, where he could get with any of them because, you know, the main character is essentially a self-insert for the viewer.
Well, anyway, I got that wrong, but she knows more about this than I do.
I'm ashamed I do.
And the age bracket for this is generally between the ages of 15 and 30. So, a lot mature. The next one is isekai.
That's my favourite.
Oh, of course it is.
It usually involves characters that either get transported to another world or they get reincarnated and end up in an alternative universe.
So the genre just means another world.
And there is a thing known as the isekai truck, because a lot of the isekai anime start literally with the person getting run down by a truck.
Yes.
Okay,
and,
thank you.
Kind of super parodying that by a guy dying from shock because he thought he got run over by a tractor, but the tractor didn't actually run him over.
Okay, so anime in this bracket would be Spirited Away, which is, if you know Ghibli, yeah, some of their stuff goes into that category. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, and my personal favourite, so I'm a spider, so what?
Yeah, there's also Konosuba. I think Dot Hack, the very first Dot Hack anime, would probably have been one of the first isekai. Also, Log Horizon's pretty good.
Yep. Okay, next one is mecha. Now, when I was growing up and anime started to become a thing, mecha was probably one of the most popular at the time. And yes, I knew a lot of gamers that were into the ones like Gundam and Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah. And we put Voltron in there, even though technically it's not an anime. But
Voltron was just started in Japan though.
Yeah, and we grew up with all of these. I don't know if there's any current ones.
Yeah. Macross was awesome in its day.
Aldno was Zero, Darling in the Franxx. They're more recent mecha anime. Gosh, I completely forget this.
But there's not a lot of them currently out there.
I mean, like it's a popular genre, but typically it's usually dominated by like Gundam. Aldno was Zero. I forgot about. And there's also Tengen Top and Gurren Lagann. That's a good mecha.
Well, there you go. Next one is Josei. Josei just means young adult woman. Now, and they're usually situations that involve after school, high school graduation type situations. The only one I could find for that was Princess Jellyfish. Never watched it, so I can't really tell you much about that.
I'm not too familiar with that either. I just know it's for a more mature female audience.
Yes, more of a women power type thing. It
usually portrays more realistic situations, whereas shoujo is it would never happen because it's a shoujo.
Next one is my personal favourite, Slice of Life. It refers to everyday situations that the characters will fall into and includes a great deal of detail about their lives, their conflicts and emotions that they may face. A couple of my personal favourites are in here. Love is Hard for an Otaku. I highly recommend that one. There's nothing inappropriate about that. It's a really good anime, lots of fun. It's not always serious. Don't know about Kiki's Delivery Service. Never heard of that one.
It's a movie. It's a Ghibli movie. I would not call that Slice of Life.
But it's put on there, Slice of Life, and science fell in love, so I tried to prove it. That one has got lots of everyday things happening as well. It's just from a scientific point of view.
Yeah. I don't really watch a lot of Slice of Life. so I can't really say too much about it. I find slice of life boring.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The last one is
Oh,
kodomuke, which is literally means for kids, or kodomo meaning the word for children. Anime this type, never seen it. Anpanman, Doraemon, my youngest daughter absolutely hates. Pokemon, and of course my daughters grew up with Hamtaro, which is all about little hamster.
You forgot Maho Shoujo. You forgot Magical Girl anime.
Well, we're not going to subgenre, is it?
It's not part of the shoujo genre though. It's basically its own genre. You know, like Sailor Moon, Puella, Madoka Magica, whatever. It's got such a long, convoluted name. Basically, you have a team of. It's like Power Rangers, but more feminine. Is the best way to explain it. Like they all have their own magical power, and there's usually this cute little mascot character like Cardcaptor Sakura, and then they all transform into really pretty frilly outfits. There is actually a male version though. It has like a wombat mascot. I forgot its name. It exists.
Okay, so while we've covered all the genres, the questions, I guess, is whether anime is a good thing or not a good thing. So we've covered the genres for you, so you can make up your own mind about those. Positives for anime: it stimulates conversations with other Japanese people and other foreigners that live in Japan. So you can have some things to discuss. Like if you haven't got an open relationship with the Japanese person you're speaking to, and you want to break into that, and they're interested in anime, it's probably a good icebreaker, a starter point for it. And it also, anime also boosts tourism, and there's a lot of interest in it. And sometimes people do follow some pretty interesting things when they see these. So like Kimetsu no Yaiba, which is Demon Slayer, is one of the top animes in Japan right now, and it's just boosted a lot of the economy. So I guess it's not such a bad thing. And
what about Detective Conan?
Detective Conan. We've talked about Detective Conan in a previous video where like a famous celebrity, Conan O'Brien, went to visit Tottori, where Detective Conan Town is. So a lot of this sort of thing gets traction outside of Japan.
I think there's like a life-size or like a true to scale Gundam out the front. I think there's like outside of a building in Japan. There's just a full-on size Gundam that even lights up and everything.
Well, there you go. So it can't always be a bad thing. And it's educational. It helps you to learn the language. Particularly manga. They've actually said that learning manga, you look at the pictures and you learn concepts, and then kanji becomes a lot easier to learn because kanji is one of the hardest parts of Japanese language. Learning everyday life and culture. Now, bearing in mind that sometimes the anime does not truly reflect Japanese culture in its truest sense. I guess the cautions about anime, legalities of watching it. I know copyright and things like that is a stricter thing here in Australia. Japan is a little bit more relaxed about it, but they're tightening the screws when it comes to how and where you can watch it. So is it legal? So make sure if you're going to be watching anime, you watch it through the correct channels.
Legal streaming services.
Yep. Should you be watching, listening, or reading it? Well, that's an interesting question because some of the genres we've covered have confronting, disturbing, or even harmful imagery to it. And you have to be able to consider those genres we've looked at have age specifics in them. So I guess if you stick to the age specifics, part of that problem is alleviated. So,
I think the best rule of thumb is to do your research. Like, if you have kids or teenagers and they're like, hey, this is what I'm interested in, Google it, look at, like, descriptions, reviews of it, look at genre. If it has, specific things in it that you might think is bad or harmful. I mean, I think, it's down to make the call, because anime it's just a medium. So it's not inherently harmful. It's a case-by-case basis. You need to be active in your child life and go, okay, is this good? Is this bad? Do your due diligence. And then, hey, okay, this looks really bad. Shouldn't let them watch it. Easy. Just do your research. It's Google.
Well, thanks so much for Colleen and even my husband.
Disembodied arm.
Joining us today. The main streaming services that we have in Australia, if you're an Australian watching the YouTube video, is Anime Lab and Crunchyroll. Funimation. Although not all these services are free, you probably will have to pay.
Anime Lab is actually becoming Funimation, so
yeah, they
won't be two separate ones. They'll be one.
Yeah,
which is kind of weird because that happened with Crunchyroll a while back as well.
Yep.
Crunchyroll and Funimation combining.
And if you want to know more about a specific anime you want to watch, there is
My
anime list as well.
Yeah, my anime list.
My anime list.
MAL.
And you can look on there and they'll have a brief blurb about the anime you want to watch, and it'll have the genres and it'll have the age specifics. So that will help you. And also many thanks to OMF Japan for some of the information they gave us, and the internet, and for breaking down the genres for us.
Yeah. Also, anime can be found. You can also find huge anime libraries on Netflix and Hulu if you have those already. So you don't even need to worry about getting Crunchyroll or anything like that.
And also, if you want to look at manga, the specific manga, there's some manga available at Minotaur in Melbourne on Elizabeth Street, which has a pretty good representation as well. And has English translations if you have struggles with Japanese.
Or just go to your local library. There's also some streaming services that are also starting to offer manga. And there's also, I think there's a service called Bookwalker that has more specifically light novels, which are just like smaller novels that occasionally get adapted into anime. So if that's something you're interested in, I think Bookwalker is good. I've seen that being referenced a couple of times by AniTubers.
Well, there you go, guys. For all of us here in Connecting Japan, we'll probably do...
Which includes me.
Well, we're probably doing some more travel videos in the next couple of months. We'll be heading off to New South Wales, God willing. And, we'll be showing you some more fun from there from all of us here in Connecting Japan. And thank you to Colleen. Damatane, and see you next time.